We present the case of intraoperative exchange of a 13.2 mm toric ICL lens for a 12.6 mm one due to hypervolt. Here we see that the Nakamura and Shimizu formulas tell us that we should implant the 13.2 lens, which is also the lens we have chosen, the 13.2 lens, but to place it vertically. And we have also ordered a 12.6 lens, but to place it horizontally, with an axis at 90 degrees calculated relative to the vertical. We begin the surgery by marking the vertical implantation axis with the Callisto system, and we are going to load the ICL into its cartridge. Here we are picking it up with the injector so as not to damage it. With blunt, moistened forceps, we grasp it by the haptic area and place it in a cartridge into which we've put a mixture of viscoelastic and BSS. We hold it by the peripheral area and insert it into the rails, and with the traction forceps, a ductile forceps, we grasp it and insert it, guiding it into the most proximal area. We place the cartridge inside the injector and check that it slides correctly. Now the lens is ready for insertion. We will now make 2 paracenteses to facilitate manipulation with the hook. In the second paracentesis, by pressing down slightly, we are going to empty the anterior chamber of aqueous humor, which will make it easier to introduce the viscoelastic later, a low-density viscoelastic, 1%, and we try not to overpressurize the anterior chamber too much. We make a 3 mm incision in the upper area and implant the lens. We slowly slide the lens in, making sure it opens in the correct direction, in the lower area. We leave it not fully implanted, but rather trapped in the incision. Then, with a viscoelastic cannula, we push it further inside, and with the same cannula, we place viscoelastic above the lens and push it toward the anterior surface of the crystalline lens. Next, with this blunt manipulation hook, we're going to place the peripheral haptics of the lens behind the iris diaphragm. Having 2 paracenteses is useful for us to make these maneuvers easier. Once we've positioned the lower area, we'll use the same paracenteses to place the haptics in the upper area. This part is a bit more complicated because of the access, but thanks to the flexibility of the lens, by gently bending it at the haptic, we can position it easily. We align the lens with the axis we had marked, and with the intraoperative OCT, we can see that there is a vault well over 1 mm. The scale we have on the right is 1 mm, and we can see that the vault is actually about 1,400, 1,500, so we decided to explant this 13.2 lens. We're going to rotate it slightly so we can place viscoelastic behind it, which helps prevent our maneuvers from accidentally touching the anterior capsule of the crystalline lens. And with the same blunt positioning hook, we're going to explant the haptics from the area closest to the hook. We can also do this with a Sinskey hook, because with this hook we can go in and pull on the holes in the lens easily, without needing to go too far out to the periphery, whether central or peripheral, and we position the lens perpendicular to the incision, which will make explanting it easier. We take a toothed forceps and pull it outward, and once we are going to remove it, it fragments because it is very thin, but with the same forceps, we can explant it without any problem. Once we have removed the 13.2 lens, we change the implantation axis to 179, since the 12.6 lens we had ordered was horizontal. And we are also going to implant it slowly, making sure at all times that it opens in the correct orientation. We leave it positioned and held at the main incision area, and with the viscoelastic cannula, little by little, we go underneath the lens, we open it, and then we add viscoelastic, which will allow us, with small movements, to make sure the lens opens correctly. We place viscoelastic over it, rotate the lens 90 degrees until it is in a horizontal position, and with the help of this hook, we gradually implant the haptics behind the iris. And here we go, with a horizontal movement over the knee of the lens. In the haptic area, we are going to fold it, but always horizontally, never downward. We orient it. Here, it's the same. We grasp it by the knee, between the optic and haptic zones, place it behind the iris, and orient it according to the implantation axis. Once we have implanted the lens, we check with the OCT that it is approximately at about 500 microns, according to the scale on the left, which means we are satisfied with this fault, and then, by irrigating and depressing the main incision, we remove the viscoelastic. It is a low-density viscoelastic that comes out easily. It is a cohesive viscoelastic, the one we usually use, and with small, gentle irrigation movements and by slightly hyperpressurizing the anterior chamber, we remove all the viscoelastic and constrict the pupil with acetylcholine. Once we have checked, by irrigating the anterior chamber, that there is no remaining clump of viscoelastic inside the anterior chamber and that the pressure is normal, we consider the procedure finished. After the procedure, we confirm that there is a vault of 278 microns in mydriasis, which we consider appropriate for this patient with this correction.